holding on so tight, you crush what you love. Let's play through. Hello and welcome. You are listening to the Live Lava podcast. I'm Gunjan.
I'm Rajiv.
Rajiv, today I want to dive in the paradox that might unlock next level of freedom, loving fully without clinging tightly. Rajiv, this idea of detached attachment isn't a new age fluff. It's been explored for centuries in Eastern philosophy. Uh, just think about it that how often our desire for things to stay the same, for people to act as we expect, actually cause more pain than the joy they were supposed to bring to us. And I was sharing this with you earlier as well that in life, whenever we get something easily, be it job, be it college admission or life partner, we tend to think, do I really deserve that? How can I get things so easily? On the contrary, if we get something with great effort, like if we have busted our ass for that, and then when we get it, even if it becomes a headache, we want to hold on to it.
True. Yes. It is an interesting paradox. And, it is not just, I think, the more the effort obviously you put in, the more, you try to cling to that because then there is a fear of losing and then the fear of, not getting it back again. And that makes you cling to something. But I would say I don't know whether that I would call as attachment or or maybe more of fear of losing because attachment for I think the earlier statement you made in terms of presumption of continuity, right? Something that you like for whatever reason and you expect that it will continue that way. I think we talked about it in our earlier episode also, and I also talk about it in my book Rise, that that becomes actually a problem in life
And we
when you
forget that
presume.
we will evolve, other person will evolve, and we
Yeah.
presume that
Circumstances will change, world is changing, everything is changing around you every day. And yet you expect that you and everybody else and everything else will remain the same.
when you have
Even the
changed a
money,
lot,
even the inflation, yeah, what you could like, I think it was in the context of that, when you're young, you think that once you have that much money, you can retire from your job and you will do something else. And then, that milestone keeps changing, the X
the
plus one
goalpost.
syndrome.
Yes, yes. Rajiv, the struggle, if there is a lack in that struggle, can that actually trigger the feeling of self doubt and imposter syndrome?
In terms of that, if you get something too easily.
If you get something too easily. And I'm not talking
Yeah.
about something that you've inherited it. If you get something too easily.
Yeah.
And one thing that I feel can be because we are not thankful enough for what we get easily, be it our parents, be it the natural resources that we get, be it that healthy lifestyle that we've been living through. And I think it's very deep rooted because if we say no for anything, for whatever XYZ reason, that one famous मम्मा का डायलॉग, तुम्हें मिल रहा है तो तुम्हें कदर नहीं है, जिन्हें नहीं मिलता उनसे जाके पूछो, मुझे नहीं
Yeah.
चाहिए, उनको चाहिए
Yeah.
होगा. So maybe that's the difference, but it also depends what you actually want and what you are getting instead of that.
Yeah, I think that in a way you are right that we are not thankful enough for what we get. There's something that when my, children were growing up, like they were grown up, but like they had a job, they have a job, and they still complain. And I keep reminding them that, sometimes just sit and reflect on the fact that 90% of this world would like to trade their place with you. You're in the US, earning very good money, you have a house, you have a luxurious lifestyle. At least I can guarantee that if not 90, then 70 to 80% of the world, anybody in the world will want to trade place with you. And you should be thankful about it. Now, thankful doesn't mean that you become apologetic about it. I think that's where people get confused.
Right.
That, oh, I got lucky or I don't deserve it. That is being apologetic for what you have or what you got. Anything that you get very easily, that should signal you that, hey, that may be my, innate trait. I'm good at it.
And I
If,
was at the
for
right place.
example,
Yeah, you've written this in Rise as well, that there's no such thing as luck. Luck comes to those who are prepared for it. And
yeah,
if you
prepare
have to
for it,
be,
take the opportunity
and you
and
have to
act
be at
on
the
it.
right place at the right time, and you need to be prepared for that kind of opportunity
See,
that will
you
come
will
in.
always be at the right place at the right time. You always are. The only problem is that you do not act. That is the only problem. You tell me, you look back hindsight. I can look back at my life and say every time there were tons and tons of opportunities, but I failed to act. I failed to take the risk.
It's
I failed
very
to pivot.
accurate. It's very accurate, Rajiv. And when I say this, if I reflect, when I started as a media planner and I left for whatever XYZ reason, now it's a struggle to get into media or get into designing or whatever I wanted to pursue. But if I would have really hold on to what I started with, things would have been different. But yes,
Yeah,
if I pause and reflect, there were ample of opportunities. It's just that, and how many people knew uh, to use Illustrator, Photoshop, Flash? I knew 2004. I knew these tools,
yeah,
but I
yeah. So,
yes,
so that's why life is always lived in hindsight. But the main thing is that you get attached to things for multiple reasons. And one reason, you rightfully pointed out that the more struggle you have to gain something, that's why people get so attached to money, not inherited money, or if you win the money in the lottery, people will lose that. That like living examples of very, very, very few people who actually inherited money or won the lottery and they made good use of it. History is full of examples where I would say 99% of people squandered that away. There are only 1% of people who actually use that as a platform to do something even bigger and better.
even the
So
players,
we
world class players who come from a very underprivileged background, and then all of a sudden they are multimillionaire, they are in the most pathetic state just because they bought
Yeah,
a house to third cousin
yeah. And
because they
that's
feel
being apologetic. That's being apologetic for your success. You
that's
think
yeah.
that
So
that, oh, I there are two ways to look at it. One is that you feel obligated to help your friends and family.
social debt.
So social debt, right? That is one. Or you really want to help your friends and family. There are examples, I have seen, and I have actually, multiple examples that you can read about where people genuinely want to help their friends, family, strangers, everybody, even at the risk of, going broke. And that's fine. But those will be, I would say, handful of people. Most of the people who, lose what they have, whether it is money, mostly it is with money because that's very something that is observed, but that also happens with talent, that also happens with other things, that the you squander it away because you feel apologetic about earning it so easily, or earning it and you think that, hey, the other person was not so lucky. And that's where I think the complexity comes in. But attachment, on the other hand, is something that the more you get something, the more you get attached to it. The more if so for us, I think we talked about it in one of the episode that why would a person, a multimillionaire, would want to cringe on saving money for most pathetic things. I have seen millionaires, buying a second-hand trousers. I have seen millionaires, going into Goodwill, which is in the US. People can, Google it and find out what Goodwill is about. Doing shopping from Goodwill.
That is fine. I got really amazed when someone said that even today, like a multimillionaire, he eats at McDonald's. I'm like, are you serious? That's one thing
See,
one should invest on is on their health.
yes,
And still
yeah,
because it's cheaper or whatever the
yeah.
reason is, I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, because I think the complexity is in the it's a psychological problem. We are not taught to be proud of what we are, and we are not taught how to be proud of your achievement, not arrogant about them, but proud, right? So what happens is we end up being arrogant and we end up becoming too attached. And exactly, so you buy a car today and your son or daughter or your wife scratches it, or husband, whatever, right? You will be very angry at that person. And so what you're signaling to the other person is that I value this car more than I value you. It may have been a genuine mistake, accidents happen and all that. The car is insured, everything is, you can take care of it, even if it is, let's say, you have to pay for the repairs. But the signals that we give to everybody around us and to ourselves also is the same. You have money in the bank and you want something and you don't buy it. You wait for a sale, or then you regret, oh, that particular thing I wanted is no longer available. I should have bought it at that time. But you could have afforded it. That's where I think it's a wrongful attachment.
uh, one of our very insightful Osho, he has
Yeah.
explained these two very beautifully, attachment and love. And he said love is all about giving, making it effortless, and being free. On the contrary, attachment is that stem from fear or that need to possess things. If you look at Osho, if you look at Gita, both of them have explained things in a very beautiful manner. Where is that blurring line between a healthy engagement and an unhealthy attachment?
Yeah, I love Osho's lectures.
Yeah,
No,
after
I
40, I
really
started
think.
loving Osho. So they,
No, I loved
no,
him even when I was growing up. I
yeah,
found
life
him
begins
very
after 40. So
radical. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
But he also explains in one of his lectures this very beautifully. And uh, from what I remember, I'm paraphrasing. People can listen to the lectures. So he explains this in a way that, let's say you are crossing a river, and you have to take a boat, right? So you go from one, river bank to the other side. When you get on the other side, you don't pick up the boat and carry it with you, saying, I cannot get rid of the boat because it helped me cross the river. That is attachment, a wrongful attachment. At that time, you do not worry about leaving the boat behind, thanking the, whoever the boatman was, rowman was, that, hey, thank you for, or paying for his services, whatever it is. That's a way to look at attachment and detachment. That, while you were crossing the river, you had to be attached to the boat. But the moment you step off the boat on the other side of the river, you thank the boat and you walk away. That
But if
is healthy
but if
detachment.
people walk away, they are labeled as mean people. जब तक जरूरत थी तब
Yeah,
तक use
that's fine.
किया, and then
Yeah, that's fine. But
you
that
are at
happens.
your
Yeah, that happens. Yeah. See, the thing is, this is where the fear comes in. Fear of
What people
judgment and fear of,
judgment.
yes,
Yes. That
right.
people will
So I
think
would say,
I'm
yeah,
doing
that's
wrong.
fine. Yeah, I am a mean person because, I don't carry my burdens with me. It doesn't mean that I'm not thankful. So that people confuse. This is where anybody making a judgment about anything, the first thing that you should do is think of that why is this person judging me this way? It has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the other person. That is 100%. Always. You make a judgment against something, the first thing that you should do is that think, why am I making this judgment? What is it that is triggering in me, either a good or a bad judgment? I remember on Twitter, somebody posted um, um, a picture of, a woman smoking and had a very, what is this? This is all BS or very angry response to that. And the only thing I said was, this only tells me that you have a deep rooted desire to experiment with smoking. That's all. Otherwise, you walk around, people are smoking, not smoking, drinking, you don't care. But something triggered in you this very strong judgment. And you have to reflect on it. Example, the same you fall in love with somebody and the other person is not responding to your love, right? So the very, very normal and very typical scenario in life. So you keep getting attached to the same person more and more because it appears that that person is very difficult to get. So what you are doing is you are actually digging your own grave at that time because the fact of the matter is that the person may not be interested in you or may have other, whatever the reason
Priorities.
may be.
Yeah. Other priorities are.
Sometimes the person is not courageous enough to, exhibit, or, like exhibit love. So there are maybe many, many, many things, but you keep, craving for that love to be responded back. And you get attached to that person for no reason. And when the other person walks away or, find another partner or whatever, you will continue to sulk throughout your life. That's wrongful attachment. That is where you need to understand that, I fell in love. That means I have capacity to fall in love. And I can love somebody else also, not just this person. Why am I not able to exhibit my love to somebody else? What is it that is holding me back? This is the same analogy that the Osho example that the boat brought you to a shore and then you have to continue on your journey. You cannot carry the boat with you. So it is the attachment and detachment is actually very, very, uh, I would say, telling about yourself. What are the things that you get attached to and why? What are the things that you get attached to very quickly and why? What are the things that you cannot get attached from and why? So these are introspective things that will actually unravel a lot of things about yourself, your own fears, your own desires, and everything.
So when we say detached attachment, the crux, what my understanding is, what you have today, you may not have it tomorrow. So maintain that distance so that it doesn't hurt you. But
No,
that's
that's where I differ. I don't say maintain the distance. What that means is that you will not be able to enjoy what you have.
exactly.
I
If
say
you're
when,
always in that fear of losing it, when will
yeah,
you actually love it? That's what
you
where
should,
love
that's
should
the,
be more liberating and attachment is more suffocating. Is
no,
if I can
no,
bifurcate
no,
these
it is
two.
not. It is not. both attachment and detachment are liberating.
How attachment is liberating, Rajiv?
So, so let's say I'm going to take the same Osho example that, when you are crossing the river, you are attached to the boat, but you can still enjoy the journey of the river,
Boat
the
ride,
sound of the river, the water, the rowing.
calmness, the tranquility that you get when
So
you're in.
you that's a blissful experience,
Mhm.
right? Then you don't have to at that time be fearful, oh, I'm going to lose the boat. When I
Right,
reach the shore, I will have to let it go. No,
right.
you enjoy what you have. And when you reach when you get off the boat, then say thank you. You enjoyed the ride, and now you are going, getting on with your journey. Let's say you win money lottery today, right? You say, okay, I'm going to go on a world trip. Then go on the world trip with luxury, with everything that you can afford, given the money. And once you have spent the money, still be thankful that hey, that money enabled you to do this. Or you can say, hey, I want to, I got this money, I want to double it, I want to triple it. So you can pivot and invest and do something else. So totally up to you. But whatever you are doing, be thankful and enjoy it, not with the fear that you may lose it, but with the
Also,
acknowledgement that you may lose it, and yet you will be surviving. You have the capacity to be happy. You have the capacity to restart or whatever.
is it okay to make that assumption that okay, I have it and I might not have it, so let me have
No,
all
you
the
see, okay,
luxuries what I can have right now.
I'm not saying that I have it, I may not have it, so let me make, let me, squander it away.
Optimize.
That's, yes. So I'm not saying that. I am saying that enjoy what you have, whether it is time, whether it is money, whether it is somebody's love, whether it is, the, you know, momentary pleasure or whatever it is. Enjoy it while you have with full intent. And it is very difficult. I know I have not been able to do it. I try my best, but the fear of losing something is so deeply ingrained that although I have overcome the fear of losing, I have overcome fear of many things, but I I don't have capacity to enjoy beyond a certain point. And I'm trying to overcome that, but it's unfortunately very deeply ingrained.
Yeah, I really I've known you like from last 23, 24 years, Rajiv. I don't know a single thing that you fear. Like, I know we've talked about it that you fear the most is being average and mediocrity. But fear of losing, it's really hard for me to digest that you have some fear of losing and you have gold in your mind. What fear
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
have?
yeah, yeah. Thank you,
Like,
thank you,
what?
thank you.
No, you're
Only a
welcome.
fan
But
can say that.
no, you're
Ask
welcome.
my wife.
But people who have uh, gold in their mind, what fear do they have of losing?
No, it
They
is.
can
You see,
build
the thing.
anything from anywhere.
No, it is not that. It is not that. You see, the thing is that fear is not just only about yourself.
Okay, what is Rajiv Nanda's biggest fear?
Can be many things.
No, but of losing. What is your fear of losing? I want to understand that.
No, see,
Eh,
that's what I'm saying. That I have overcome the fear of losing. I have overcome that over the decades. Today, because I have seen ups and downs. I have, and this is something that me and wife, my wife, we always keep debating about it. You know, we started from scratch. When we came to the US, literally we had
Two
like
suitcases. Yeah, we
I
all
had a $500 debt because I had borrowed from somebody to buy my first car. Right?
Okay,
And
starting
literally
from negative.
yeah, I had like no, not 500, $2,500 debt, because I didn't have money to, and without the car in US, we are like worthless. And I've lost job at least three times, maybe more. I don't, yeah, three or four times, because of whatever reasons. And I've like whatever investments I made, at one time I was like negative, whatever big amount. So the thing is that we have gone through ups and downs so many times that actually was a good, that actually taught me detachment to a large extent. Now, some people get that, some people pivoted, or actually not pivoted, but some people actually took it in the wrong way. I see my, some friends and all that, they actually got even more risk averse. They became even more attached to whatever they had because the fear continued to grow. For me, it was the other way around, that it actually helped me dissolve the fear.
Whatever. I
What I'm
think Rajiv Modest Nanda has reached a stage, भाड़ में गई दुनिया, देखा जाएगा जो होगा जाएगा. Am I right?
Yeah, but it is not about me. Yeah.
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 So
But
I think
attachment
we
and
have.
detachment actually will, I think we should focus on introspecting every time that we think that we are getting too attached to
Yes,
something.
yes. Introspection is the key, and I also feel that there's a time when you feel, why me? Why did that happen to me? But when you introspect, you pause, you reflect, you figure out, oh, it was a bigger reason. There was something better
Yeah.
waiting for you. And
Yeah.
there are people who are, I mean, I really want people to cultivate that kind of mindset that it should come as a positive outcome. As we've said earlier, as you've said earlier as well, Rajiv, that to reach heaven, you have to go through hell. So if
Yes.
there is a difficult situation, that shall pass too.
Yes. That actually is, I think, the best way to look at it, that this too shall pass.
This too shall pass.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I somehow feel that you just also get used to toxicity.
Yeah.
So if
Stockholm syndrome. Yeah.
yes, Stockholm syndrome, and if you're not getting any reaction, then it gets more worrisome that I am not getting any reaction.
But the question that you have to ask yourself is that why is your self-worth so much attached to these stupid things? And that I think nobody reflects on. And that's where I think once you reflect on that, you will automatically become, healthily attached to things and healthily detached to things.
And I think that will be a good way to deal with silent treatment that you get with toxic people. Or a little too much to say toxic people. Not everyone is toxic. I think this word is getting overused. But yes, people give silent treatment, and that's what it is said. कि चुपकी मार सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ी होती है. It's actually more hurtful than a slap,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
silent treatment. So
Hmm.
yes, introspection and asking that question, that why do you need a reaction for a stupidity, will be a good thing to reflect on.
Yeah.
Well,
But let me share a joke, as we were talking about that. This yeah, very appropriate, I think. One this young monk goes to his master and asks, "Hey, master, are monks allowed to use email?" And the master says, "Only if there are no attachments."
I knew this was coming, Rajiv. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for listening. Do visit our website, thelialama.com. Let us know if you want to come on our podcast. We'd be more than happy to host you. Closing lines from your side, Rajiv.
So, this is something I wrote for somebody just recently. I wrote it in Hindi, but I will translate into English because I think the English translation also came out well. Um, some souls pass through, not to stay, and to remind us that nothing ever does.
And the Hindi version, please.
Hindi
More
version I will
relatable.
have to. Huh?
More
Hindi
relatable.
version I'll have to pull it out because this one I translated. So give me a second, and if I can find where I have saved
It's
that
okay. You
Hindi
only have
version.
to edit it. It's fine.
Yeah, I couldn't find that Hindi version,
Oh,
so maybe next
that's
time.
fine. Maybe
Yeah, I know
next
I have
time.
saved it somewhere, and I need to actually collate all my poems and everything in one place. So I keep writing and then I forget where I saved it.
Please do share. Even our listeners do like, share, subscribe our channel, and do visit our website, thelailama.com. Let us know if you want to come on our show. We'd be more than happy to host you. Thank you.
Thank you.